La Yasha Allah.
The Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abba Noah, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemkan, Yahweh, Malakavkar, Baba'ah, Ratazak, Hayah, Aishah, Baratazak, Kawak, Hayah, Hashemayim, Shadalano, Lakam, Kal, Wawak, Wasalakano, 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 Wala'ah, Tobi Iowa, Other side one, a bar. I was shining a young, right, the cup, I'm a luck one, one for power, I will love you, Amen.
And in the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever.
So be it. The prayer for the cup, which is the power. Yahweh. God, send me how shine. Baba Kashar. The Thundernote. Hakak. Lau Kal Makalah. Kal Mother Walk. Hakak. Lataha. Hama to the right. Hakak. The Mafia. Hakak. Arakal Walk. Atama Allah. The Barry Church. God, send me how shine. The water.
Amen. And in the English, Yahweh, in the name of the Yahweh, please give us the power, the power to heal, all manner of sickness, and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out, in the name of the Yahweh. Thank you. So be it.
And the blessings, Barakatah Yahweh. Wa Yahweh shine. Wa Miyaka Allah. Wa Alahayim. The thoughts of your art. Allah walk your hand. Allah walk your hand. Allah surrun you. Allah put the yanyu. Allah kayanyu. Wa akwaf you. Yahweh. Wa shimi how shine. Water. Amen.
And in the English, bless you Yahweh. And Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, commanding General Yahana, the general, the captain, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, thank you, so be it.
Psalms 121 of the Hebrew. Ash'ar Ayanya, Al-Hahayim, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'ayim, Yahweh, Aishah, Shemayim, Wa-Ratazah, Al-Yatan, Lama-Wat, Regalka, Al-Yanawat, Shemaka, Anala-Ah, Yanawat, Wala-Ah, Yayashad, Shawamah, Yasha-Allah, Yahweh, Shemaka, Yahweh, Tazaka, Al-Yat, Yam-Yanka, Yawamah, Hashamak, Ya'ayakayaka, Wayarak, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamaka, Akar-Rak, Yashamah, off the Pashka, Yahweh, Yashamah to the Afghan,
And in the English, I will lift up my eyes.
I will lift up my eyes
unto the hills.
Unto the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from Yahweh.
My help cometh from Yahweh.
Which made heaven and earth.
Which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer.
He will not suffer
thy foot to be moved.
thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee.
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold.
Behold.
He that keepeth Israel.
He that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade.
Is thy shade
upon thy right hand.
upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
Nor the moon by night.
Nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee.
Yahweh shall preserve thee
from all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out.
And thy coming in.
And thy coming in.
From this time forth.
From this time forth.
And even forevermore.
Even forevermore.
So be it.
So be it. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Al-Damayalakar.
Al-Damayalakar.
Al-Fasakwash.
Al-Fasakwash.
Al-Fakarash.
Al-Fakarash.
Al-Fasakwash.
Al-Fasakwash.
Al-Kiyahana.
Kiyahana.
Wabba Yakar.
Wabba Yakar.
Yahama Yawan.
Yahama Yawan.
Ra'ash.
Ra'ash.
Al-Amakar.
Al-Amakar.
Ya'ayramwa.
Ya'ayramwa.
Sawadar.
Sawadar.
Weyathar.
Weyathar.
Ya'aytazawar.
Ya'aytazawar.
Al-Tazab Wandikar.
Al-Tazab Wandikar.
Amawa.
Amawa.
Kawa.
Kawa.
Wandikakadam.
Wandikakadam.
Magalia. Wala Yasakar.
Wala Yasakar.
Sham Yasa'al.
Sham Yasa'al.
I will die.
I will die.
Kaya. No, I took the war.
Now I tell the war.
The bar.
The bar.
Yakadwa.
Yakadwa.
Al the car.
Al the car.
Warrior.
Warrior.
Yakarafwa.
Yakarafwa.
Al Hayam.
Al-Hayam.
Al the one.
Al-One.
Wa Yasama Alayam.
Wa Yashma Alayam.
Wa Abba.
Wa Abba.
Wa Hagayam.
Wa Hagayam.
Wa Bar.
Gabal.
Wa I'm a one.
I'm a one.
Wa I'm a lot.
I'm a lot.
Kala Shaf.
Kala Shaf.
I'm the Shabia.
I'm a Shabia.
Cause of war.
Cause of war.
Gum Asha war.
Gum Asha war.
Nala war.
Nala war.
I'm Mam.
I'm Mam.
I war.
I war.
Zar White.
Zar White.
Banyala what?
Banyala what?
Salah.
Salah.
I Shala.
I Shala.
Kamadya.
Kamadya.
Kasayaya Saptara.
Kasiyah Sarah.
Kayabya.
Kayabya.
Balakar.
Balakar.
Koyashwa.
Koyashwa.
Ashamadwa.
Ashamadwa.
Bayandara.
Bayandara.
Hayawa.
Hayawa.
The man.
The man.
The other man.
The other man.
Shayadamwa.
Shayadamwa.
The Dar Yabmawa.
Dayabmawa.
Kaira.
Kaira.
Because of Bar.
Kazabah.
Because of Bar.
Kazabah.
Because of the Zalmanai.
Because of Zalmanai.
Kalisai Komwa.
Kalisai Komwa.
Ashar.
Ashar.
Amawa.
Amawa.
Dairashar.
Dairashar.
Lanawa.
Lanawa.
Off.
Off.
Na'awaf.
Na'awaf.
Alahayim.
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 Shayadamwa.
Shayadamwa.
Gagala.
Gagala.
Kwash.
Kwash.
Padaraka.
Padaraka.
Ka'ash.
Ka'ash.
Sabayaira.
Tabi'aira.
Wakalabar.
Wakalabar.
Salahat.
Salahat.
Harium.
Harium.
Khan.
Khan.
Taradutma.
Taradutma.
Wasairaka.
Wasairaka.
Wabasawa Pafka.
Wabasawa Pafka.
Kabalahum.
Kabalahum.
Mala'ah.
Mala'ah.
Panyahum.
Panyahum.
Kuala One.
Kuala One.
We are Bosqua.
We are Bosqua.
Shamkar.
Shamkar.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Bashwa.
Bashwa.
We are Balawa.
We are Balawa.
Eye to eye.
Eye to eye.
We are Kapawa.
We are Kapawa.
We are Abadwa.
We are Abadwa.
We are Dua.
We are Dua.
Kiya'athar.
Kiya'athar.
Shamkar.
Shamkar.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Labadka.
Labadka.
Al the one.
Al-One.
Alcohol Aratiza.
Alcohol Aratiza.
Oh,
Amen.
And in the English, Psalms 83. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy
And
peace.
be not still.
And be not still.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For lo,
For lo,
thine enemies make a tumult.
thy enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee,
And they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel.
They have taken crafty counsel
Against thy people.
against thy people.
And consulted against
And consulted against
thy hidden ones.
thy hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
Come,
Come,
and let us cut them up.
and let us cut them up
From being a nation.
from being a nation.
That the name of
In
Israel
the name of Israel,
may be no more in
may
remembrance.
be no more in remembrance.
For they have consulted together
For they have consulted together
with one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom.
And the Ishmaelites.
And the Ishmaelites.
Of Moab.
Of Moab.
And the Hagarenes.
And the Hagarenes.
Gebal and Ammon.
Gebal and Ammon.
And Amalek.
And Amalek.
The Philistines.
The Philistines.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
Asher also is joined with them.
Asher also is joined with them.
They have hope in the children of love.
They have hope in the children of love.
Selah.
Salah.
Do unto them
as
unto the
as unto the Midianites,
as to Sisera,
as to Sisera,
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
at the brook of Kisa,
at the brook of Kisa,
which perished at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Horeb,
Make their nobles like Horeb,
and like Zayed.
and like Zayed.
Yea,
Yea,
all their princes as Zabah,
all their princes as Zabah,
and as Zalmunna,
and as Zalmunna,
who said,
let
us take to ourselves
us take to ourselves
the houses of the Most High,
the houses of the Most High,
in possession, all my power,
all my power,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a wheel,
as the stubble before the wind,
as the smoke before the wind,
as the fire burneth for wood,
as the fire burneth for wood,
and as the flame, setteth the mountains on fire,
sets the mountains on fire.
So persecute them,
With thy tempest,
and make them afraid, with thy storm, fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Yahweh. Let them be confounded, and troubled forever, Yea, let them be put to shame, and perish, that men may know, that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, are the Most High, over all the earth. So be it. And the curses forth. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, listen to us now, right now, send evils and curses, and punishments and destruction, to the heathen, that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school, send evils and curses, and punishments and destruction, to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel, that refuse to give to the school, force their riches, to enter into thy sanctuary, send evils and curses, and punishments and destruction, to the Edomites, and the nation, and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Passacomatazzi, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space program, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street, open up the internet, and the airwaves, cable access channel, and the radio channel, convict the spirit, and any of thy people, that seek to stop us, bring swift destruction, to all the heathen, that stand in the way, try to stop us, from broadcasting your word, throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, call them to go to and fro, through the earth and consume them. Let the plague shake, the house of the thief, and the murderer. Let Yahweh shine, Michael and Gabriel, come down with the flying saucers, and punish all the heathen, that come up against us, as we speak thy word, cause it to be known by all, that it is the angels that have done it, cause it to be spread through the media, throughout the whole world, cause them to shake at thy coming, in the name of Yahweh. Thank you always. So be it. Right, with that, you can be seated. Start breaking down these laws. Tall brothers. That's alright, so book of Deuteronomy. We'll get what I need. Right, Deuteronomy 14:1.
So okay.
That is again.
Okay. Deuteronomy 14:1. Yod. So okay. All right.
Don't read that.
Yeah. Okay. Banyan. A thumb. Layawa. Layahawa. Bit small.
Oh, you use it up in the phone.
Yeah,
Like a little bit.
If you need a big print, that's
Banyan. A thumb. Layahawa. Alahayakam. La'a. Tatagadat wa.
This is a God to war.
Tatagada wa.
That's right.
Wala'a. Tashayam. Tashayamwa. Tashayamwa. Para ka.
Car.
Bayan. I wanna come.
Yon Yakum. Yon Yakum.
Ayan Yakum, right. Lama, Slakia. Lama.
Yeah, that's right.
Kaya. Ain. Kwada wash. Ata. Laya hawa. Alahayak.
That's right.
Yabak. Wabak, Slakia. Wabak. Bakar. Yahawa. Laya Wath.
No, Lahaya Wath.
Lahaya Wath. Lawa. La'ayin. Sagala. Sagala. Macau. I am a one. Ha'ayan.
The people.
Ha'ayan. Asha. Isle. Panya. Ha'adama.
What's his verse 3?
3.
Yeah.
The call. Call. the wa I the
bar.
the wa yeah the wa I bar tazahath tazahath
No. Za'af.
za'ath aba haba ama asha ta'akal lawa shawa sha kashabyam washa I is a one.
As a young.
As a young.
Mm.
God, as a young. That's fine. Ayo. What is that? What is Waya? What is Zambia? Waya come? Waya come what? What are ya? Kwa Salakia. What are Kawa, yeah. What the yashan? What the al? Salakia. What the awa? Was a ma. Yeah, was a ma.
That's it.
It's verse 5.
The end of
The end, yeah. Was a ma.
Yeah, you got it.
Wakam. Bahama. Parsa. Washasa ayah. Shasa'ai. Shafya. Paras wa. Ma'ailath. Kara. Baba Hama. Atha. Ta'akal wa. Right.
One more verse.
It's verse 7, God. Za. La'a. Ta'akal. Yeah, wa. Right. Mama Ail, yeah. Agara. Wamam Mapar Yasaya. Aparsa. Ashar sa what I ya. Ashar sa
I
sa what I ya. Yeah. Hagamal.
Hagamal.
Hagamal, yeah. Wa'ath. Ha'ara Nabath. Wa'ath. Ashapan. Kaya. Ma'ila. Kara. Hama. Hapar Sa. La'a. Hapar. Hapar Yasawa. Tazamayam. That's right? Tazamayam.
Tomayam. Tomayam.
Okay,
That's a ta.
Tamayam, right. Ham. Yeah. Lakam. That's it.
No, I'm sorry.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, yep. Do you tell me what is it again?
14.
1. Deuteronomy 14 and 1. So, Deuteronomy chapter 14 and verse 1. Ye are the children of the Lord your God.
So now, why is the Lord saying this? Because we've come out from the land of Egypt and they serve many gods. And God is telling us, listen, you're mine, man.
Right.
I mean, you're my people. You're not the people of Egypt no more. You're not the people of the nations that are round about you. But guess what? You are the sons of God now.
Right.
Read that.
God, Lord your God, you shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes.
All right, so we'll break it down piece by piece. It says, you should not cut yourselves. Now, not all in every part of Africa, but in some parts, when someone dies, they cut themselves. You mean they believe to remember that person, they cut themselves, which which is heavy because in the Western world, when a friend of yours dies, what happens? You get a tattoo, man.
Right.
That's where it comes from. It comes from an African custom that they used to have. When one of their loved ones died, they would cut themselves. And God's saying, listen, we're not to do that. Let them do it, but you being my sons, I don't want my sons doing that, man.
Right.
Listen, when someone dies, they are coming back, man. You mean you are inflicting yourself for them now, and they're gonna be back one day, man.
That's right.
You mean it's not all doom and gloom. Listen, man, you know what I mean? You don't need to be sad. Why? Because you know that person will be back on the earth again, man.
Right.
And then it says, what's the last part about your eyebrows?
Nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead.
So in Egyptian history, there was an Egyptian god, but obviously they're not real, but she was called Bashteth. And basically what the women would do is they would cut off their eyebrows for her, you know what I mean, in representation of her. And they've done that for anyone who they missed, who died. So they're saying, listen, don't do that.
Right.
In Egypt, you know what I mean, us being around them, we did those things. And God is saying, don't do that anymore. So it doesn't mean a woman cannot get her eyebrows done because she's not doing it for the dead. But really, with this, they will shave the eyebrows all off. You know what I mean? Not a line, not a thing at all, man. You know what I mean? Read that.
God. Verse 2. For thou art an holy people.
Yeah, because why we're holy, we're separate. That's why you can't do it, because you're holy, you're not them. They cut themselves for the dead. They're women, you know what I mean, make a boldness between their head, which is referring to your eyebrows. Their women do that, but us, we're holy, we're separate. We can't do what those African tribes do. We can't do what those Egyptians do. Why? Because we are separate from them.
Right.
Read that.
God. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord has chosen thee to be a peculiar people.
So now we are a peculiar people. We're peculiar. Why? because we do things that no other nation does, man.
Right.
Imagine this: you are around in a time where it's natural for you to cut yourself for the dead. It's normal, and then you meet a people that go, "Nah, we don't do that, man." Imagine this: you meet a people where it's natural for them to have idols. It's natural for them to have the rain god, the weather god, the god of the moon, the god of the sun. And there's that peculiar people out there that you mean they've only got one god.
Right.
They don't believe in none of that. That's why we are a peculiar people. Other nations look at us and go, they're different, man. They got this invisible God. Look, man. I got my God right here, man. The candle, the incense, and you lot serve a God that you can't see.
Right.
We are peculiar people, meaning we are different in comparison to them. Read up.
God. So like chosen, the Lord has chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself, above all nations that are upon the face of the earth.
And there we are above all these nations, man. We have the answers, they don't, man.
Right.
That's why they cut themselves for the dead, because they don't have the answers, man. That's why they made boldness in between their eyes, because they don't have the answers. But we are the people that are above all people. Why? Because we got the knowledge of God, man.
Right.
We got those commandments, we got those laws, and we have the answers for the earth. Read up.
God. Verse 3. Thou shalt not eat any abominable thing.
And now that's key. Many nations used to eat abominable things. In the Roman Empire, they used to eat rats. Rats was like a norm.
So they still do eat abominable things.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, true. Yeah, you know what I mean? They do, but I was giving some ancient examples. So in the time of ancient Rome, when Rome was a superpower on the earth, Romans ate rats. That is a fact. And you know what I mean? I'm not funny, rats can multiply, so you ain't running out of rats. You know what I mean? Ain't no rat supply, running down. You know what I mean? And Romans used to eat rats. Egyptians used to eat a catfish, which is unlawful. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? All nations, they don't follow the same dietary law that we do, man.
Right.
They do eat abominable things. Even to this day, in Japan, they eat octopus and squid. And there's one where they eat it alive, meaning they just shove it down the throat. And the tentacles, it's just hitting it on their face, because with the squid, it's trying to come out of his mouth, so the tentacles are like trying to push, and then shoving it in just, you know what I mean? And that is abominable, man. You mean, Lord knows when it's inside your belly and it's alive, you don't know how they feel, but that's what they do. It's the baby ones, and while it's alive and it's fighting to get out of its mouth, like literally it's a tentacles are all by its lips trying to get out, and then shoving it in.
Right.
And the Bible says we can't eat things abominable, man. We can't do what these other nations do. Reader.
Verse 4. God. These are the beasts which ye shall eat.
So now the Lord doesn't want us to be abominable. So what did he do? He gave us guidelines on what beast and what food we can eat.
That's right.
Reader.
God. The ox, the sheep, and the goat.
So now we can eat ox, sheep, and goat. Now, what is a common denominator with these animals? They eat grass, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? They eat something which is what? It wouldn't harm you if you eat it, man.
That's right.
With grass, it's healthy. Of course, us as humans, we don't eat it, but that animal's eating some healthy food, man.
Right.
And with you eating what? There's no wrong, man. A lion is eating raw meat.
Right.
You eat a lion, Lord knows what you're going to get, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Wow. What? These three animals, what is a common thing they have? They chew grass, man. Read on.
God. Verse 5. The hart and the roebuck and the fellow deer.
And the fellow deer. So these are all different kinds. So you got the ox and you got different variants of them. So you can look them up in your own time. But they're ox or either sheep-like animals, basically. That's the easiest way of making it understandable.
Right.
Read on.
God. And the wild goats and the pigog, and the wild ox and the camois,
It's a buffalo, yeah. So you know what I mean. So it's in that animal family there, basically, like the cow family, sheep family. You know what I mean. It's around that anyway. So you can look them up and you get the exacts because this is written in the 1600s. So we wouldn't use those terms now that we are reading. But go ahead.
So like I was gonna say, something like antelopes as well. Like where you get this from.
Right. There you go. And listen, man, those animals are clean to eat, man.
That's right.
I'll give you another one. You can eat a giraffe if you want it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That is hard to kill. I don't know how you're gonna cut that long neck. You know what I mean? I know you could cut the neck, but when like you cut the top part, the lower part, you know what I mean? But we'll get to that when we get there. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. You know what I mean? And those animals eat good food, man.
That's right.
Read that.
Come on. Verse 6. And every beast that part of the hoof, every beast that part of the hoof, and cloven, and Slakia, and cleaveth the palate,
And cleaveth the palate, read that.
into the claws, and cheweth the cud.
Alright, so when it says it cheweth the cud, chewing the cud is not eating grass, meaning what those animals do is they regurgitate that food and it comes back out. Then they eat it again. Then they bring it back out. Then they eat it again, meaning what? You mean their body goes through a process of eating that food many times. And that's good, man. You know what I mean? I want to eat that animal and make sure that that food's right and spits it out again. Eats it again. It goes in its next gut, spits it out again, puts it again. And you know what I mean? And basically, animals that do those things and that have a cloven foot, you know what I mean? That's the animals that we are allowed to eat according to the Lord. Read
God, chew up the cud among the beasts. Ye, and that ye shall eat.
Yeah, so the Lord's saying those you should eat, man. Don't be like the Egyptians eating catfish. Don't be like the Romans eating rats. Don't be like some African tribes eating bushmeat and you know what I mean gorillas that you know what I mean died of old age. You know the Lord's saying don't do that, man. These are animals that you can eat.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because for those that don't know, with the COVID-19, it's not new. In Africa, they had COVID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, up until COVID-18. Hence why it's called COVID-19. That's the 19th variant of it. But even in West Africa, with the COVID or the coronavirus, it did exist. And even they admit it's from eating animals that they should not be eating. What is called bushmeat in the land of Africa. So really, with COVID, it's not nothing new. Just that it hit the whole earth, which is what made it a big thing. But in Africa, when it comes to the coronavirus, it was already there. You know what I mean? Reader.
God. Verse 7. Nevertheless, these ye shall eat. Salakia. Nevertheless, these ye shall not eat of them that cheweth the cud, or of them that divideth the hoof.
All right, so now there's some animals that might do one of those things. There may be an animal, it might divide the hoof, but what? It doesn't chew the cud, man.
Right.
Or there's another animal, it does chew the cud, but it doesn't divide the hoof.
Right.
So the Lord's saying any animal we eat, it's got to do both of them, man.
That's right.
Read that.
God. Salakia. All of them that divideth the cloven hoof, as the camel.
So now the a camel, it does divide the hoof. It's got like it has a hoof foot or what? You don't know.
They eat the cud.
Sorry, my bad pardon. Yeah. So with the camel, it does chew the cud, but it doesn't divide the hoof, man.
Right.
Meaning what? You can't eat it. You know what I mean? And in Arabia, they do eat a camels. You know what I mean? For those that don't know, the hump on a camel's back is fat. And like basically, of course, the Lord made the camel to what? Go on long journeys. And that fat, it basically feeds that animal while it's on that long route. And what Arabs do is they cut the fat off the back and they eat that. They fry it, deep fry it, and they eat the fat off the camel's back. That is a fact. That's what they do in Saudi Arabia right now.
My mother never told me that.
You know what I mean?
Like
You found out that way. But yeah, you know what I mean? Now, of course, in Saudi Arabia, everyone does not do it. You know what I mean? Not every Saudi Arabian does it, but it is a dish of theirs where it is called a camelback, and the fact that hump there, they do eat that. Now, us being the chosen people of God, we can't do that, man.
That's right.
The camel does chew the cud, absolutely, but it doesn't part in the hoof, man.
Right.
Hence why you can't eat it. Reader.
God. Camel. And the hair. And the coney.
And the coney, so these are like rabbit. So these are rabbit-like animals, and you can't, man. So with the coney, they chew the cud, but what? They don't divide in the hoof, man.
Right.
A rabbit now in certain parts of the UK, they have a rabbit pie, man, and soup, rabbit soup. Even that famous song, "Run Rabbit, Run Rabbit." It's a farmer chasing a rabbit. Why? Because he wants to eat it, man. And we can't eat no rabbit, man.
Rabbit eat grass. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? They eat grass, but they don't divide in the hoof, man.
That's right.
They don't part the hoof in their feet like, you know, like two like that.
Yeah.
Like, so you can't. Any animal we eat has to do them both.
Have them both.
Yeah, you can't have one and not the other. You know what I mean? Reader.
Can't. For they chew the cud, but divide not the hoof.
They go, and the Lord's explaining, you can't eat those animals. Why? Even though they chew the cud, they don't divide the hoof, man.
Right.
Meaning that's why you can't eat them.
Right.
Reader.
Can't. Therefore they are unclean unto you.
And because they don't because they don't do both, that's why they're unclean unto you, man.
That's right.
That's why you can't eat it, man. That was your 7 verses.
Can't say, yeah.
I know, sweat. All right then. How much time is it?
It's about 45, 11:47. It's 11:47.
Yeah, we can do one more, brother.
Ban Yamyan Ban Yashral.
Ban Yashral.
Yaba Shimya Shabakatam.
Yaba Shimya Shabakatam.
Yeah. You go that way. You come on this way. We'll work it out.
You need to see it. Verse 7. No, verse 8. Verse 8. Right. Verse 8. What thought? Heka Zayar Baya Maparia Parasal Hawa'a Wa La'a Gara Tama'a Hawa'a Laban Lakam Maba Sharam La'a Tha'aka Lawa Wabana Bala Tham La'a Thaga I Wa Atha Zahab Tha'aka Lawa Makal Ashar Bama Bar Mayam. Kala.
Verse 8. You'll be on that side.
Come. Asha. Lawa. Sanapa Ya. Sanapa Yara.
That's verse 9, right?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
okay.
Wakwa, Shakwa, Shatha. Tha'a Kalwa. Wakal. Asha. Awaka. Lawa. Sana Payar. Wakwash, Kwasha. La'a. Tha'a Kalawa. Tama'a. Hawa'a. Lakam. Kal. Tazapawa. Tahara.
Harar, yeah.
Tha'a Kalwa. Kalawa. Wata. Asha. La'a. Tha'a Kalawa. Maham. Hanasha. Waha Param. Waha Paras. Waha I Za Baya. Nayaka. 13. Waha Ra'a. Wa'af. Ha'aya. Ha'aya.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Waha Daya. Lama Yana. Wa'af Kal Ira. Lama Yanawa.
Very good. No sweat.
Deuteronomy 14 and verse 8. And the swine, because it divideth the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud.
Alright, so now it's giving you the flip side. So before, the animals, they did chew the cud, but their feet wasn't a cloven. Now the swine, his feet are a cloven, but it cheweth not the cud, man.
Right.
What is the term for swine in pig, man?
Right.
If you was alive in the 1600s, you know, you wouldn't say pig, the term is swine. And listen, pigs eat anything, man. You know what I mean? There's nothing a pig would not eat. You mean, you bring it around a pig, it's going to eat it. You know what I mean? It could be a dead man's remains,
Right.
you know what I mean? Waste, feces. But you know what I mean? Anything around a pig, it eats it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And listen, man, you don't want pig in you. Like, a lot of people eat bacon and ham and all that, and you don't know what animal you are messing with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Many people get worms in them, tapeworms, and all different types. And that is because they're eating pork, man.
Right.
Reader.
It is unclean unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass.
So now, here's the thing. You can't eat their flesh, and you can't touch their dead carcasses. So if a pig is alive, you can touch it.
Right.
You know what I mean? In the mosque, they've read the scripture and you know, even went crazy. You know what I mean? They don't even say pig, like, you know what I mean? They're like, because with the PIG, you know. They're like, what? Like, the pig, you mean pig? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? They took it and went crazy with it. Listen, all the Bible's saying is don't eat the pig. And any unclean animal to you, it's a carcass. You can't touch it. Meaning, a carcass is a dead body.
Right.
So if a pig is alive, you can touch it, man. You mean all those unclean animals there, while they're alive, you can put hands on them, man. You know what I mean? That's not a problem.
It's like the other one. You can have them as pets, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can have a pet rabbit.
Right.
That's not a sin.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just the eating of it. That is the sin.
That's
But when it's dead, if you touch it, you're unclean. And to be fair, being unclean is not a sin. It's just rules that you follow. You gotta isolate yourself.
God.
Being unclean isn't the end of the world, man.
That's right.
You know what I mean? But basically, that's where the Muslims got this from, and they took it and ran with it somewhere where it wasn't meant to go.
Right.
Reader.
These ye shall eat of all that are in the waters. All that have fins and scales shall ye eat.
So now it's talking about in the waters, man. So what we can eat in the waters is those that have fins and scales. So now I just want to set some context here. There's a lot of fishes out there. If you get a microscope and you zoom in on them, you'll see the scales right there.
Right.
But that's not what the Bible is talking about.
Right.
In that time, with Moses, he didn't have no ultra lens, HD scope. Because you want to know a fact, even a shark, if you get a microscope and zoom in on a shark has scales as well.
Right.
And you know you don't want to be eating any shark.
That's right.
You know what I mean? With a jaw, that's off the menu, man.
Right.
You don't know part of jaws. You know what I mean? So the context is, it in the sea, you grab that fish and you can see, you can see the fins and the scale. It's not no microscopic ones. It's what you can clearly, with the human eye, see, which is the point of it, yeah?
That's right.
Reader.
And whatsoever hath not fins and scales, ye may not eat.
Yeah, so there's animals in the sea that don't have fins or scales as well.
Right.
Those you can't eat, like the shark, like the whale, like the octopus, like you know what I mean? In your own time, you can look them up, but you know, there's a whole list of them that clearly don't have fins or scales.
Right.
Reader.
It is unclean unto you.
And they are unclean unto us, man. Those animals are unclean unto us. Reader.
Of all clean birds ye shall eat, but these are they of which ye shall not eat.
Reader.
The eagle.
So now you can't eat any eagles, man. You know what I mean? Why? Because that's a predator bird.
Right.
Meaning what? They eat meat, they eat a roadkill, you know what I mean? Anything that's around. God's saying you can't eat those birds, man.
Right.
Reader.
And the ossifrage.
And with the ossifrage, that's another kind of eagle right there. So it's in a family of predator birds that like the falcon, etc. It's the birds that go hunting, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? And let me tell you something, those birds are big, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of you watch those shows and think some tiny bird. The bird is like a human being, man, with wings. And what to do is, they're not going to fight with you. But what to do is, with the claws they have, they just latch onto you. They fly high in the air and just drop it. You know what I mean? They're not going to fight with you. And they drop you and you're broken legs and ribs.
And then eat you.
And then they eat you. You know what I mean? That's what they have to do. So now, they'll get a sheep. So now, if it's like a baby, a sheep, they'll just find it, claws, grab it, fly, drop it. I mean, from high, it can't move. Then they eat it. And those kind of birds, the Lord's saying we should not eat.
Right.
That's basically, reader.
And the osprey. And the glebe. And the kite. And the vulture after his kind.
And there you go. And then, at the end, it sums up the vulture after its kind. So meaning, all those birds are of the vulture family.
Right.
That's the easy way. But individually, you can look those birds up, and they're all basically related to each other in some way, shape, or form. Yeah.
All right.
I read that.
And every raven after his kind.
Uh-huh.
That's verse 14.
Those were, and then the raven. Now, of course, the raven's not as big as the eagles, but they are predator birds. They eat things that we should not be eating, man.
Right.
And basically, so you know what I mean. Next week we'll catch up with this. But with that, I'm Adium.
Rise and face the east. The Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abu Noah. Shabbat Shemayim. Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In
In
earth,
earth,
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us
Give us
this
this
day
day
our daily bread.
our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts,
As we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not
And lead us not
into temptation.
into temptation,
But deliver us,
but deliver us
from evil.
from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom,
And the power.
and the power,
And the glory.
and the glory,
Forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it. And the prayer for the Akak. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Baal Shem Yahushua.
Hashem Yahushua.
Baruch Shalaki. Nathanael.
Nathanael.
Akak.
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 Lau Pa'ah.
Lau Pa'ah.
Kal Makalah.
Kamalah.
Kal Madawah.
Kamalah.
Akak.
Akak.
Latahah.
Latahah.
Hamatazarayim.
Hamatazarayim.
Akak.
Akak.
Lahakim.
Lahakim.
Amathim.
Amathim.
Akak.
Akak.
Arakawa.
Arakawa.
Atama Allah.
Atama Allah.
Garishan.
Garishan.
Baal Shem Yahushua.
Hashem Yahushua.
Walla.
Walla.
Amen. And in the English, Yahweh,
Yahweh.
in the name of Yahushua,
In the name of Yahushua.
please give us the power,
Give us the power
to heal,
power to heal
all manner of sickness,
all manner of sickness,
and all manner of disease,
and all manner of disease,
the power to cleanse the lepers,
power to cleanse the lepers,
the power to raise the dead,
power to raise the dead,
the power against unclean spirits,
power against unclean
to
spirits,
cast them out,
to cast them out.
in the name of
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. And the blessings, Barakatah Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh.
War Yahushua,
War Yahushua.
War Milaka Allah,
War Milaka Allah.
War Allah Hayr,
War Allah Hayr.
War Zaba Ya'ah,
War Zaba Ya'ah.
Allah Wapi, Allah
Allah Wapi,
Wapi,
Allah Wapi.
Asa Ranya,
Asa Ranya.
Aqata Zayanya,
Aqata Zayanya.
Aqa Ya'yanya,
Aqa Ya'yanya.
War Akwafi,
War Akwafi.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
War Shem Yahushua,
Hashem Yahushua.
the water,
The water.
Amen.
And in the English, it reads, bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh,
And Yahushua.
and Yahushua,
And Michael.
and Michael,
And the angel.
and the angel,
Commanding General Yahushua.
commanding General Yahushua,
The general.
the general,
The captain.
the captains,
The officer.
the officers,
The troopers.
the troopers,
And the sisters.
and the sisters,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
In the name of Yahushua.
in the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Ash'a Ayanya,
Ash'a Ayanya.
Al-Hahayim,
Al-Hahayim.
Ma'ayan,
Ma'ayan.
Yaba'ah,
Yaba'ah.
Isaiah,
Isaiah. Isaiah.
Ma'ayim,
Ma'ayim.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Aisha,
Aisha.
Shemaiah,
Shemaiah.
Wa'aratazah,
Wa'aratazah.
Al-Yatan,
Al-Yatan.
Lamawat,
Lamawat.
Regalka,
Regalka.
Al-Yanawam,
Al-Yanawam.
Shemaka,
Shemaka.
Anala'ah,
Anala'ah.
Yanawam,
Yanawam.
Wala'ah,
Wala'ah.
Yeshud,
Yeshud.
Shawamah,
Shawamah.
Yasha'al,
Yasha'al.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Shemaka,
Shemaka.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Tazaka,
Tazaka.
Al-Yad,
Al-Yad.
Yamyanka,
Yamyanka.
Yawamah,
Yawamah.
Hashemah,
Hashemah.
Ayakaika,
Ayakaika.
Wayarah,
Wayarah.
Walayallah,
Walayallah.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Yashemah,
Yashemah.
Yashamaka,
Yashemaka.
Wakal Rai,
Wakal Rai.
Yashemah,
Yashemah.
After Pascha,
After Pascha.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Yashemah Tazaka,
Yashemah Tazaka.
Ubawa Aka,
Bawa Aka.
Ma'aitha,
Ma'aitha.
I will love,
I will love. Amen.
And in the English, Psalm 121. I will lift up my eyes.
I will lift up my eyes
unto the hills.
unto the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from Yahweh.
My help cometh from Yahweh,
Which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber. Behold,
He that keepeth Israel
he that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee
Yahweh shall preserve thee
from all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in.
and thy coming in,
This time forth,
from this time forth,
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore.
So be it.
So be it. Psalms 83 is in Hebrew. Allah Hayr,
Al-Hayr.
Al-Damayalaka,
Al-Yamalaka.
Al-Fakarat,
Al-Fakarat.
Al-Fasquat,
Al-Faqat.
Al-Yahana,
Yahana.
Wabiyaka,
Wabiyaka.
Yahamayawat,
Yahamayawat.
Ra'ash,
Ra'ash.
Al-Aimaka,
Al-Aimaka.
Iramwa,
Iramwa.
Sawadah,
Sawadah.
Wayatah,
Wayatah.
Yaitazawar,
Yaitazawar.
Al-Tazaka Wanyaka,
Al-Tazaka Wanyaka.
Amarwa,
Amarwa.
Nakawa,
Nakawa.
Wanakakadam,
Wanakakadam.
Magalia,
Magalia.
Wala Yasaka,
Wala ayataka.
Shom Yasha'al,
Sham Yasha'al.
I will die.
I will die.
Ya.
Ya.
Lo Aitazawar,
Wa Aitazawar.
Labar,
Labar.
Yakadwa,
Yakadwa.
Al Yakar,
Khayar.
Ahalya, Salakia.
Ahaya.
Adawam.
Adawam.
Wa Yasama Alayam.
Wa yashma alayam.
Mawa Abba.
Mawa Abba.
Wa Hagayam.
Wa Hagayam.
Kabal.
Kabal.
Wa I'm a one.
Wa I'm a one.
Wa I'm a lot.
Wa I'm a lot.
Father Shah.
Father Shah.
I'm your Shabia.
I'm your Shabia.
Cause of war.
Cause of war.
Gum Asha war.
Gum Asha war.
Nala war.
Nala war.
I'm man.
I'm man.
Haya war.
Haya war.
Sir wine.
Sir wine.
Labanyala war.
Labanyala war.
Salah.
Salah.
Aishala.
Aishala.
Kamadia.
Kamadia.
Kasaya. Sarah.
Kasaya Sarah.
Kayabian.
Kayabian.
Balakam.
Balakam.
Yashwa.
Yashwa.
Shamadwa.
Shamadwa.
Bayan the Ra.
Bayan the Ra.
Hayawa.
Hayawa.
Daman.
Daman.
So like Hayawa. Daman.
Daman.
La Adama.
La Adama.
Sayatamwa.
Sayatama.
Da Yakmawa.
La Yakmawa.
Kaira.
Kaira.
Wakazabak.
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 Wakazalmanai.
Wakazamanai.
Kalasai Kamwa.
Kalasai Kamwa.
Ashur.
Ashur.
Amawa.
Amawa.
Irishah.
Irishah.
Adawa.
Adawa.
Off. Da'awa.
Da'awa.
Alahaya.
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 Sayatamwa.
Sayatamwa.
Gabala.
Gabala.
Kwash.
Kwash.
Wapanya Rakar.
Lapanya Rakar.
Ka'ash.
Ka'ash.
Sabaya Ira.
Tabiya Ira.
Wa Kalaba.
Wa Kalaba.
Talahat.
Talahat.
Haryam.
Haryam.
Khan.
Khan.
Saradakma.
Saradakma.
Wasa Iraka.
Wasa Iraka.
Wabasawa Pafka.
Wabasawa Pafka.
Kabalaham.
Kabalaham.
Mala'ah.
Mala'ah.
Panyaham.
Panyaham.
Kuala
Kuala Wan.
Waya Baswa.
Waya Baswa.
Shamkar.
Shamkar.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Baswa.
Nabashwa.
Waya Balawa.
Waya Balawa.
Aida Aid.
Aida Aid.
Waya Kapawa.
Waya Kapawa.
Waya Abadwa.
Waya Abadwa.
Waya Dwa.
Waya Dwa.
Kaya Atar.
Kaya Atar.
Shamkar.
Shamkar.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Abadka.
Abadka.
Ali One.
Ali One.
Alcohol Arataza.
Alcohol Arataza.
Aman.
Aman.
And in the English, keep not thou silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy
And
peace.
be not still, O
And
Yahweh.
be not still, O Yahweh.
For
For
lo,
lo,
thine enemies make a tumult.
thy enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee
And they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty
They
counsel
have taken crafty counsel
against thy people.
against thy people
And consulted against
and consulted against
thy hidden one.
thy hidden one.
They have said,
They have said,
Come,
Come,
and let us cut them off.
and let us cut them off
From being a nation,
from being a nation.
that the name of
And
Israel
the name of Israel
may be no more in
may
remembrance.
be no more in
For
remembrance.
they have consulted together
For they have consulted together
with one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of
The
Edom
tabernacles of Edom
and the Ishmaelites
and the Ishmaelites
of Moab
of Moab
and the
and the
Hagarenes,
Hagarenes,
Gabal and Ammon
Baal and Ammon,
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the Philistines,
the Philistines,
with the inhabitants of
and
Tyre.
the inhabitants of Tyre.
Asher also is joined with them.
Asher also is joined with
They
them.
have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them
Do unto them
as unto the
as
Midianites,
unto the Midianites,
as to Sisera,
as to Sisera,
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
at the brook of
at the
Kisa,
brook of Kison,
which perished at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Horeb,
Make their nobles like Horeb,
and like Zayer.
and like Zayer.
Yea,
Yea,
all their princes as Zabah,
all their princes as Zabah,
and as Zalmunna,
and as Zalmunna,
who said,
who said,
Let us take to ourselves
Let us take to
the
ourselves
houses of the Most High in possession.
the houses of the Most High in possession.
O my power,
O my power,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a wheel,
as the stubble before the wind,
as the stubble before the wind,
as the fire burneth for wood,
as the fire burneth for wood,
and as the flame,
and as the flames
setteth the mountains on fire.
set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them
So persecute them
with thy tempest,
with thy tempest,
and make them afraid
and make them afraid
with thy storm.
with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with shame,
that they may seek thy name,
that they may seek thy name.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh,
Let them be confounded
let them be confounded
and troubled forever.
and troubled forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame
let them be put to shame
and perish,
and perish,
that men may know
that men may know
that thou,
that thou,
whose name alone,
whose name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
are the Most High,
are the Most High
over all the earth.
over all the earth.
So be it.
So be it.
Curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh,
King of heaven and earth,
King of heaven and earth,
and all things living.
and all things living.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahweh,
in the name of Yahweh,
listen to us now.
listen to us now,
Right now.
right now.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses
And punishments and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
That speak against
That
us.
speak against us.
Thy prophets.
Thy prophets.
The teachers.
The teachers.
The princes.
The princes.
The priests.
The priests.
The Israelite brothers.
The Israelite brothers.
And the school.
And the school.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishments and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
And shake loose.
And shake loose.
The treasure of the rich of Israel.
The treasure of the rich of Israel.
That refuse to give to the school.
That refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches.
Force their riches.
To enter into thy sanctuary.
To enter into thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishments and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the Edomites.
To the Edomites.
And the nation.
And the nation.
And their drug
And their drug
The
dealers.
court system.
The court system.
The prison system.
The prison system.
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood.
All the governments of our enemies.
All the governments of our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church.
The Pope.
The Pope.
Islam.
Christianity. Egyptology.
Militia. Ku Klux Klan.
Ku Klux Klan.
Aryan Nation.
Aryan Nation.
Skinheads.
Skinheads.
Pastor
The
The gay movement.
The gay movement.
The
The lesbian movement.
Spies.
Spies.
Workers of witchcraft.
Workers of witchcraft.
NASA space
That's
program.
the space program.
Army.
Navy.
Air
Air Force.
Marine.
Wall Street.
Open up the internet.
Open up the internet.
And the airwaves.
And the airwaves.
The cable access channel.
Cable access channel.
And the radio channel.
And the radio channel.
Convict the spirit.
Convict the spirit.
Of any of thy people.
Of any of thy people.
That seek to stop
That
us.
seek to stop us.
And bring swift destruction.
And bring swift destruction.
To all the heathen.
To all the heathen.
That stand in the way.
That stand in the way.
But try to stop us.
Try to stop us.
From broadcasting your word.
From broadcasting your word.
Throughout the planet Earth.
Throughout the planet Earth.
Let loose all the plagues.
Let loose all the plagues.
Cause them to go to and fro.
Cause them to go to and fro.
Through the earth and consume
Through
them.
the earth and consume them.
Let the plague shake.
Let the plague shake.
The house of the thief.
The house of the thief.
And the murderer.
And the murderer.
Let Yahweh shine.
Let Yahweh shine.
Michael and Gabriel.
Michael and Gabriel.
Come down with the flying saucers.
Come down with the flying saucers.
And punish all the heathen.
And punish all the heathen.
That come up against us.
That come up against us.
As we speak thy word.
As we speak thy words.
Call it to be known by all.
Cause it to be known by all.
That it is the angels that have done it.
That it is the angels that have done it.
Call it to be spread through the media.
Cause it to be spread through the media.
Throughout the whole world.
Throughout the whole world.
Cause them to shake thy coming.
Cause them to shake thy coming.
In the name of Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh.
Thank you always.
Thank you always.
So be it.
So be it. And with that, I margin Shabbat. I margin Barak.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatam.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatam.
Yah Jamata. Class dismissed.
Is a outside? Yeah, it was Bidaya Allah.
So I dropped his car back.
Off.
Drop his car back. Mine.
Later.
Okay. Okay, cool. So what? You need someone to go with you while you got your car back to me. You have something. That's good. Mid-part, no purpose.